Hello again, Dan Alasso, making history, and the sun is out, as you can see, although the air quality in northern Minnesota is not particularly good today, I hear. Several unrelated things happened over the past 24 hours that kind of struck me as interesting, and I'm not really sure if they're unrelated or related. They seem to be kind of mixing together in my mind. First of these things was that I did attend a technology council meeting that lasted for about 3.5 hours yesterday afternoon on Zoom. There is a lot going on in the system. There are a lot of committees that had reports and things to discuss. And one thing that struck me, actually, was that the retrenchment at Bemidji State wasn't actually something that everybody was aware of. It's one of the top things on my mind, of course, and that's partly because I keep writing about it and talking about it daily to remind me to do something positive, to keep moving forward towards my goal of having something to do, having some kind of job after this academic year. But it was news to a lot of people at the meeting. Some of them weren't aware even that BSU was in trouble, much less that it was cutting 15% of its faculty. So that was an interesting bit of perspective for me. The next surprise came when I went out for a beer and some wings. It was Dollar Wing Night at the local barbecue place with a friend who teaches at the Red Lake Tribal College. And he's probably watching this because I know he's a subscriber and he watches these every morning. While BSU is retrenching our tenured faculty, including actually his wife, who's been at BSU for a couple of decades, because enrollment has fallen off a cliff and is half of what it was 5 years ago, the tribal college's enrollment is exploding. They're having problems of growth. At the same time, BSU is shrinking. Maybe we should be talking with them and looking very closely at what they're doing and thinking about whether any of it is something that we could emulate. Maybe there are some solutions and some partnership options that don't involve BSU doing favors for the tribal colleges, but maybe instead getting some additional strength from partnerships with the tribal colleges. The final surprise when I got home was that I found out that my father has COVID pretty bad, and this morning is going to begin taking a drug from Pfizer called Paxlovid. And this concerns me, although I know that when my mother-in-law had COVID pretty bad, Paxlovid seems to have done her good, and she didn't have the rebound that everybody warns about with that drug. And as I think about it, I realize that the reason that I'm concerned is because I don't trust Pfizer at all. I no longer trust Big Pharma. I no longer trust the CDC. I no longer trust the National Science Foundation or the NIH. I no longer trust the government. I no longer trust the media to tell me anything true about COVID-related material. This is not the way it's supposed to be. And I think we've gotten so used to it that we don't realize how bad it really is. The situation that we're in, where information has been weaponized to the point where our choice is either to believe conspiracy theories about regulatory capture or to believe corporations who are known to be the most egregious liars on the basis of the fines that they have actually paid for lying and then have shrugged off as just a cost of doing business because they've made so much profit on the stuff that they've lied about. Often over the last couple of years, I've heard people mention the good old days when our institutions and our media could be believed, when there were facts and science was something that you could trust, when Walter Cronkite was voted the most trusted man in America, when the business plan of news organizations was not to polarize everybody and try to find a niche by making everybody take these extreme sides. We miss that. Now, I would argue that there were problems with the consensus of the 1950s and the 1960s. And maybe we shouldn't be too nostalgic about what really may have amounted to, a great extent, to manufactured consent. So in a way, now at least we know that there were always dissenting voices, and that in the past they were just suppressed effectively, and that the center is still trying to kind of hold on by trying to suppress them now. But we're seeing that play out in public because the internet exists. But it's uncomfortable, and it's exhausting, and it extends beyond the media to cause distrust of everything. And we need to figure out how to do something about this. And I don't have an answer right now, but I'm aware of this issue, and maybe I will work on it a little bit as a historian and try to contextualize it. But in the meantime, those were my thoughts for today based on the things that have happened over the last 24 hours. I hope you found that a little bit interesting. I will see you again tomorrow.